Whenever a plane goes down, amid all the chaos and confusion, the search really begins for one thing: a small, brightly colored box that holds the truth. Today, we're going to unlock the secrets of the flight recorder.
That's the chilling call from an air traffic controller. It's a message nobody ever wants to hear. And in the fall of 2001, it plunged New York City right back into a state of fear. And you have to remember when this happened. This was just 2 months after 9/11. The city was still on edge, the entire country was. So the idea that another attack could be happening, well, it felt terrifyingly real. Just moments after taking off from JFK Airport, the plane just fell out of the sky. It crashed into a residential neighborhood in Queens. The loss of life was absolutely devastating. And, of course, this was the immediate question on everyone's mind. In all that panic and uncertainty, it seemed like the most logical and, frankly, the most horrifying explanation. But to get the real story, investigators had to go to the wreckage. Okay, so let's get into it. The key to solving the mystery of Flight 587 and so many other air disasters wasn't just in the twisted metal, it was inside 2 incredibly tough little devices. And right away, here's the first myth we need to bust. We all call them black boxes, right? But in reality, they're painted this super bright, high visibility orange. And that's for a very simple reason: to make them easier to find in the middle of a debris field. So what are these things? Well, there are actually 2 of them, and they work as a team. First up, you've got the cockpit voice recorder, the CVR. Think of this as the ears of the investigation. It captures the last 2 hours of every sound in the cockpit. Then you have its partner, the flight data recorder, or FDR. This is like the plane's diary. It records dozens and dozens of different flight parameters for over 25 hours. It tells investigators exactly what the plane was doing. Now, when you put these 2 devices together, you can piece together a flight's final tragic moments with incredible accuracy. So for Flight 587, what did they reveal? The CVR gave them the first piece of the puzzle. On the recording, you could hear the pilots reacting to something called wake turbulence. These are basically powerful, invisible waves of air that get kicked up by a big plane. In this case, a massive 747 that took off right in front of them. But here's the thing, and this is so important. Hitting wake turbulence is normal. It's something pilots train for all the time. It should absolutely not cause a modern airliner to crash. Something else had to have gone wrong. And that's when they turned to the hard data from the FDR. And what they found, which you can see right here, was just wow. This table shows the co-pilot's inputs on the rudder pedals right after hitting that turbulence. Look at that. He slammed the rudder all the way to the right, then immediately all the way to the left, then right again, then left again, all in just a few seconds. These were incredibly aggressive, rapid-fire movements. An airplane's tail, what's called the vertical stabilizer, it just isn't built to handle that kind of violent side-to-side stress. The co-pilot's overreaction to the turbulence literally snapped the tail clean off the airplane. Once that was gone, the plane was completely uncontrollable. And just like that, thanks to the data from that little orange box, the biggest fear was put to rest. It wasn't terrorism, it wasn't a bomb, it wasn't even a mechanical failure. The investigation concluded it was pilot error, caused by some serious gaps in training. That finding, by the way, led to major changes in how pilots are trained around the world. So the story of Flight 587 really shows just how vital these recorders are. But, the technology that makes all of this possible has come a very, very long way. I mean, believe it or not, the first flight recorders back in the 60s were pretty basic. They actually etched data onto a thin strip of metal foil. By the 70s, things got a bit better with magnetic tape, kind of like an old cassette tape. But the real game changer came in the 90s when they switched to solid-state memory chips. No moving parts, way more data, and so much tougher. And I mean, toughness is the whole point, right? These things are engineered to be basically indestructible little fortresses. They're put in the tail of the plane since that's the part most likely to survive a crash. The memory chips themselves are housed inside layers of steel or titanium and special insulation that can withstand insane impact forces and scorching fires. And hey, if a plane goes down in the ocean, a beacon automatically starts pinging a signal for at least 30 days, helping search crews zero in on it. Okay, so we know they're orange, we know they're tough, and we know what they do. But there's still that one question that kind of hangs in the air. It's a great question, and honestly,
The real answer is nobody knows for sure, but there are a few pretty good theories floating around.
One idea is that black box is just an old engineering slang term for any complex piece of equipment where you know what goes in and what comes out, but the inner workings are a mystery. Another theory goes way back to the early designs, which might have used light-sensitive paper inside a box that had to be, literally a black box. And then there's the simple, pretty grim theory. After a fiery crash, that bright orange paint is often scorched completely black.
But for all this incredible engineering, the recorders have one huge limitation. You still have to physically find them. And the tragic disappearance of Malaysia Airlines Flight 370 was a heartbreaking reminder of that. Even with a pinger, if you don't even know where to start looking in a vast ocean, the box and all its secrets can stay lost forever.
And really, that brings us to the big question for the future. I mean, we live in a world where our phones, our watches, they're all constantly streaming data to the cloud. So you have to ask, why do we still rely on finding a physical box in the wreckage to get the answers? It's a question that will absolutely shape the future of aviation safety. Thanks for joining me for this explainer.